This feels important right now.
Setting up for success really can make yourself stand out.
I'm gonna come up with thoughts to have so I can be a good client. The presenting problem is just why the person is there with you in therapy. But I'm out of breath now after my mad dash. I can just tell that there is big transition happening, big change happening. Was this necessary? Apparently it was. The only way I ever get things done is very much on a rewards-based system. And so today I already woke up early and I got my schoolwork done for tomorrow. I have class tomorrow. We can talk more about my schoolwork later. But my whole deal was if I get my schoolwork done and if I get my laundry done, I was gonna reward myself by going and laying out by the pool and reading my book. I literally already have my swimsuit on. I've been so excited about it. And out of nowhere, it just got cloudy and windy and dark, which is definitely going to put a damper on today's productivity, because how is my reward of laying out by the pool gonna work if we're raining? Hi, I'm Anna though. Nice to meet you. I don't even know what to do with myself now because I lost all motivation with my reward being gone. I do have a kombucha in the fridge that I could use as a reward. I think what I'm gonna have to do is just not scrap the idea, and no matter what the weather, if I get my things done, I'll be laying out, I'll be reading. Every single vlog, I have laundry to do, and that's because somehow every single day I have laundry to do. Make it make sense, I can't. I did finish my schoolwork. And we'll talk about it later because I know you guys like hearing about my schoolwork. It's kind of funny to me because personally I don't really like doing it just because work, grades. I only have a month left, so I'm really just getting that senioritis feeling, but for grad school, a one-year grad school program. But we will talk about it later. If you see me with goosebumps by the pool, maybe using my towel as a blanket to cover up my goosebumps, don't text. It's summer, okay? I'm chasing the serotonin. Also, swimsuits from Hot Swimwear. They've been linked in my description for the past year. I just don't actively promote them because it's been winter, but annabea.sw for 15% off. Now, I do have quite a few things I want to talk about this video, social work related, but this feels important right now, so we'll talk about them after I get my little fun sun time.
And I don't want you to go, my golden girl, I need you so. And I just want you to know how much I love you so. My golden girl. And it took some time to know these feelings in my heart, I love you so. And it took some time to grow. When we are apart, I miss you so. My golden girl.
I just got a call from my supervisor while I was in the shower, and so I did this mad dash to rinse off and jump out because she never calls me, especially today's a day off. I'm not going in. Usually they don't need anything, so I was like, why is she calling? Is this some sort of, not emergency, but something urgent? So I did this mad dash out of the shower and called back. Turns out they're fixing my computer at jail because it's been broken. It genuinely is probably from 2008, 2009. I'm working on an old guy there and it started to go out. So they're fixing my computer and needed my login information. So it was urgent, but not emergent. But I'm out of breath now after my mad dash and my adrenaline spike of what's going on. But hello, welcome to this day. I wish I was a bit calmer as I did this intro. Should have waited a few minutes, but I have class pretty soon, so wanted to get this in before class. I am a grad student getting my Master of Social Work. It's exciting. Today's Tuesday, so I have 2 classes, and these are my second to last classes. Next week are my last classes ever in my life. And so I have CBT and evidence-based practices in families and individuals. I can never remember the name of that class, and I always look at it and forget it. Evidence-based practices, I think it's with individuals and families. Could be children and families, not for sure. I also have a role play project that I have a meeting about later on today. Got some final papers, so there's just a lot packed into today, which is why I wanted to take the day to vlog, especially because I only have a few more grad school days left, and so I want to show you my grad school days as they come. It's gonna take some moments to chill before class. I don't even know why that caught caused such a like spike in me. I think it just really was, not only do calls just kind of give me a little bit of anxiety being Gen Z and all, but also she never calls. And so I'm gonna get a little snack bowl lunch together and we'll get together before class to talk about class. Okay, slight change of plans. I got my banana for my snack because I really felt like I was rushing to class, and I pulled up my email and there was an email that was sent earlier this morning. I could have been new, but I just found out that class is actually canceled. Just my noon class. It turns out that professor has COVID, so I really hope she feels better, but also, must you be so loud out there? I really hope she feels better, but also it's kind of fun having an hour and a half that I didn't know I was gonna have today. So she did attach in the email the case vignette that we would have gone through. Someone was cutting grass or weed eating or something right outside that window. So I think you can still hear it a little bit here, but hopefully it's a little bit better. But she sent the case study and some questions that we would have talked about today, which I feel like would be a little bit fun just to go over just briefly. One, because I'm not at all an expert and obviously haven't discussed it in class today, but also I want you guys to feel like you can watch these videos and like be fed, get what you came for. And I know that lots of times social work content is what you come for, and like kind of seeing what the MSW looks like, because a lot of you are either social work students or social workers or wanting to be. And so I just thought this could be kind of fun just to have a little discussion, get to know CBT a little bit better if you don't. If you don't care about CBT at all, I'll put a little timestamp, but here, how about that? Wait, I got there. How about that? That you can go to. Jessica is a 10-year-old girl from a close supportive family who is described as anxious from birth. She had been a shy, reserved young girl at preschool, but she integrated well in grade 1 and began making friends and succeeding academically. She has complained several times of severe abdominal pain that was at its worst in the morning and never present at night. She missed about 20 days of school during the previous year because of the pain. She has difficulty falling asleep and frequently asked her parents for their reassurance. Because of her nightly trouble, she has never been to a sleepover at any of her friends' house or had any friends sleep over. She also avoided school excursions, fearing the bus would crash. Jessica reports worrying that she and members of her family might die. She also reports being unable to sleep at all the night before a test. She could not tolerate having her parents stay on a different floor of the house from herself. At night, she would also insist on checking and securing the house to an extreme extent in the event fearing intruders would break in during the night while the family slept. Her insecurity, need for constant reassurance, and school absenteeism were frustrating and upsetting for her parents and starting to cause problems at school. At the advice of her pediatrician, her parents brought Jessica in to see you for treatment. Upon intake, you learn that Jessica had no personal history of traumatic events, has met all developmental milestones, and was a sweet and caring daughter with a great sense of humor. She enjoys swimming, biking, and arts and crafts. She worked hard at school, but her worries often interfered with completion of homework. And so just some initial thoughts before getting into the questions. Number one, whenever a client has any kind of physical symptom, it's important to note that sometimes things that start up in your head, like anxiety or obsessions or stuff like that, can come out in physical symptoms, especially in children, because they don't always have the words to articulate what they are thinking or feeling or worrying, but they do know how to say, my stomach hurts, my head hurts. So physical symptoms 100% can come from mental health reasons, but anytime there's a physical symptom, you always need to make sure that any medical issues have been checked off, have been evaluated for, tested for, and is not the case. Because what if we start treating her anxiety, the stomach pain doesn't go away, and so we're thinking, oh, like her anxiety must not be getting better, and really she has, I don't know, like IBS or something, like something that would cause some sort of stomach pain. So anytime there's a physical symptom, it can always stem from mental health reasons, but also medical history needs to be checked and tested for, just to ensure that nothing's going on there. The same can go for like depression. Like a symptom of depression is feeling very low energy, very fatigued, physically being able to get out of bed in the morning, and that can definitely stem from severe depression, but also there needs to be medical checks done, medical like lab tests run and everything, just to make sure there isn't something else happening there, because then cognitive talk therapy isn't going to help anything if something medically is going wrong in the body. So just an important thing to note. Another thing to note, and my guess is the question's going to ask about this, but Jessica is 10 years old, so developmentally there's ways to approach therapy that will be very different when you're talking to a 10-year-old girl than there would be if you're talking to a full-grown adult, and very different than if you're talking to a 5-year-old girl. It's just developmentally that needs to be taken into account of there are some things that will be too advanced for her to understand, and some ways that you can like approach the therapy to make it feel more accessible to her, more understandable to her, so she can really kind of buy into what you're doing. You gotta meet her where she's at. So getting to the actual questions that she was asking, number one is, how would you understand the presenting problem from a CBT perspective? So the presenting problem is just why the person is there with you in therapy. So for her, it's the fact that she's having these worries. These worries are affecting her significantly. They're changing her quality of life. She can't go to bed without checking that the house is secure because she's worried about her family passing away. She's missing days of school because of the severe stomach pain. Socially, she's missing out on events like sleepovers because her worry is too high, her anxiety is too high. And so the fact that that is what is affecting her quality of life, that's what's brought her into therapy, is significant. And so that's the presenting problem. Those things that are really affecting her life that take number one priority, presenting problem. From a CBT perspective, lots of times from a CBT perspective, it takes the look kind of at what cognitions, what are you thinking up in your brain that is, I'm trying to think how to word this, that is, I don't want to say enabling the symptoms. The symptoms are stemming from which kinds of thoughts in your head, if that makes sense. Now this is where a criticism of CBT comes in, because some people criticize CBT because it says that it can downplay the actual experiences people have gone through that are causing certain mental health problems. Like for example, if someone has like clinical depression that responds to medication, then we can't say, oh well, it's just their thoughts that are keeping them in depression. And I think that that's not where CBT comes from. Like that's not the CBT perspective, but sometimes in action it can kind of seem like that. Or if someone has like PTSD, for example, their symptoms that they're struggling with don't stem from their thoughts necessarily. It stems from that traumatic event because that event was traumatic, whatever it was. So that's a common criticism of CBT. But from a CBT perspective, it takes those cognitions, those thoughts that you have, and kind of places them high up, because even if those aren't the cause of your problems, a lot of things can be changed if your perspective is reframed and if you're able to learn how your thoughts are working so that you can take more control of your thoughts instead of just kind of letting them run rampant. So it's hard to like say that perspective without putting any kind of blame on a person, which is why CBT gets criticized. And it's something that makes me feel uncomfy about CBT too, because it's like, if you're depressed, you're not depressed because you're not enough in control of your thoughts. It's like your brain's kind of doing its own thing and you can't fully control it, but there are some techniques that you can use to cognitively change how you think. I don't know. Obviously I haven't like fully thought that out yet, but that's just something to note with CBT. Man, all of that for just one little question, how to understand the presenting problem. From a CBT perspective, the presenting problem stems from thoughts. So it's saying, how do the thoughts that she's having kind of snowball and cycle into these symptoms, these obsessions it seems like she's having, that then are even leading to those severe physical symptoms at 10 years old. How would you describe the CBT model to the family? This is a good one. And if you ever are doing CBT, it's really good to have like a little spiel that you can kind of pull out, because psychoeducation is a big part of CBT. It's really big on making sure that the client knows what the process is and that it works and how it works so that they can really be educated. It's not just like, oh, the therapy is being done on them. It's like they are doing the therapy in CBT. And so CBT is essentially just the connection between your thoughts and your feelings and your behaviors and how those can all affect each other. So taking control of your thoughts in some area can positively or negatively, depending on what you're doing with them, affect your feelings, which then affect how you act. And it's just a big old triangle. Now, obviously, if you're explaining it to parents, you would say like, and it's backed by research, and it's backed by research for these populations. And this study showed that these symptoms reduced by whatever. But it's just really big on that psychoeducation, making sure that the people involved in the therapy know what's happening. It's not just like, oh, you show up on a couch and you don't actually know what's happening, but maybe you're getting better. It's very big on, this is the process. You get to be very knowledgeable about what exactly we're doing each session and why, and that it works. So whenever we do these in class, these kinds of case studies, sometimes we'll act it out or sometimes we'll just discuss. And it's really nice because there's lots of different people in class with lots of different perspectives and different ideas. So I'm sorry that you only get mine as we did this. Doing role plays, honestly, I don't really like them because they just feel really artificial, but also they can be helpful because then if I'm actually with a client and having like one of these scenarios play out, then I feel more confident in it because I'm like, oh, I've already said this before. I've already done this before. So it just increases that comfort and confidence level. That was a lot of talking. If you skipped over the CBT section, hi, glad to have you back. What am I gonna do with myself now that class is canceled? I do have 2 final papers. I do want to talk about in this vlog like how I write papers, but we'll do that later because I just talked school for a whole long time. Ooh, I know what I could tell you about. I finished a book this morning at breakfast. I stayed up late last night reading it and then I finished it this morning. It was Woman on Fire by Lisa Barr. It was pretty good. I gave it 4 stars, but really it was a 3.5 rounded up to 4. It's about like a journalist who's chasing down a really important piece of stolen art. There's a woman villain that does her thing in here. There's a whole team of people, a little bit of romance, little bit of thrill. Not too much thrill because I'm a weenie and can't take that much thrill, and I was able to take this book just fine. Something I learned on TikTok the other day and I think is so funny. But apparently any book that's about World War II, like any historical fiction book that's about World War II, there's like this little game people play with the covers because it always has 2 out of 3 of these things. This one has all 3 though. It has a woman facing backwards, an airplane, and some sort of like European monument. So this one has all 3, but usually it's 2 out of 3. And it's crazy how many it checks out for. So look that up if you have never heard that before. But all that to say, the next book I'm starting is The Three Mothers: How the Mothers of Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and James Baldwin Shaped a Nation. And I'm really excited for this one. I've only read the introduction so far, but I just love that I'm going to get to learn more about the mothers that are often erased, as Black women often are in history. We hear a lot about their sons. We hear a lot about MLKJ. We hear a lot about Malcolm X. We hear about James Baldwin, but they grew up to be who they are because they were raised by their mothers. And so I'm excited to biographies of the mothers and the information about them, especially because I visited Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthplace and like the King Center and everything in Atlanta last week, I believe. Yeah, it was definitely last week. Visited all those last week, and so now I'm excited to read even more about his mom. This is a little bit more than I bargained for whenever the delivery man came. But I'm really excited about all these things, and I feel like it provides a good little intermission to the online grad school day, and then we'll talk about typing papers for grad school. But I'm actually pumped for all of these packages, and all I feel like for very separate reasons. So this first one is PR from Babe Lash, or they're changing their name. What is it now? It's Babe Original now because they're having more products than just lash products, but what they're known for is their lash products. And like I mentioned, I'm ridiculously excited for this one. So we got some just cute little stickers, keychain, that's fun. But then we get to the big event, the real deal here. Check this out. This is a package together that is their essential serum for your lashes, and then it also has a fragrance with it, like a little perfume. Seeing people's before and afters using Babe Lash makes me so excited for this. I want my lashes to be beautiful, long, voluptuous. That's my goal. So if you start noticing that happening, know that it's because of this serum. So I'll take some before pictures today, and then I'll start using this. I forget how long this size should last me, but it just says like use in the evening and just draw a line like on your lash. I feel like I look goofy today with like the bun going and the no makeup and the little halo of these hairs happening, but that's part of online school, is that I can look like this, but I apologize to you. Okay, this is a little essential little beauty influencer moment. Did you know you do this to cover your face? Because my camera automatically focuses on my face, and so when I do this, it's still going for my face. That's why people put their hands up, because then it makes it focus on that product. Little fun little tidbit if you didn't know that. Maybe that was obvious, but I didn't realize why people did it. I'm so excited. But then it also came with their little fragrance. Oh, that smells good. It kind of gives me like Victoria's Secret, like my middle school Victoria's Secret perfume vibes, but in a more grown-up adult way. Okay, so that was package number 1. Package number 2 is big chunky right here. This is a whole lot bigger than it needs to be as a box. I feel like if you don't know me outside this video, you're not gonna get the picture that I usually am like, try to be really sustainable, try not to buy things all that often, because here I am opening a box that I could fit in. Oh my gosh, you'll never guess what is inside the box. Was this necessary? Apparently it was. So basically I have a Ninja blender that's like one of those little single serve guys. It's really nice. It was a Christmas present from Zach in Christmas 2019, I believe. So about 2.5 years ago, and it still works great to this day. However, a few days ago, whenever I was making a smoothie, it was a little bit thick, and so I had taken it out and I was shaking it up in my hands like that. And because there was a little bit of condensation on the edges of the little smoothie thing, it was a little bit wet, a little bit slick, and the smoothie flew right out of my hand. And the lid took the brunt of the fall. I went and grabbed it for you, but you can kind of see there's like a missing chunk right here. And so not only is it sharp plastic now, but it also isn't sealed. Like it can still spin the blades. I don't know if it's really safe to do so. It can still be used, but the smoothie gets all over because the lid isn't sealed well. Oh my goodness, let's take a peek into the second box. Another box. Maybe I need to save these boxes for if I ever move again. If I ever move again, as if I'm living here the rest of my days. So, oh my gosh. I looked into getting just a replacement blade because really that's the part of it that needs to be replaced, is that little just like blade piece. And the replacement blades were like $40 each, whereas just getting an entirely new one was about $60. I think it was $59.99. It's linked on my Amazon storefront. And so I just got a new one because it was about a third of the price more to just get a full new one. And right now that one is still working really well. Like I don't think there's been any problems with it, but it is 2.5 years old. And so I just imagine at some point it will die. And so I don't think we'll necessarily switch to using all of the parts of this one immediately, but we will have the blade that comes with it. And then I guess we just have a backup. I don't know. Looking back, I could have just gotten the blade. But now also we have 2 new of like the smoothie holders, which is really nice because I mean, sometimes Zach makes a smoothie and then I want one right after. Granted, in those situations, then we just clean it and I make mine right after, but this felt necessary to me. Have I even shown you which blender it is? All that to say, this blender works really well. I've had it for 2.5 years. It works really well. The error of the lid was because I threw it across my kitchen and it landed on tile floor. Wasn't an error of the blender at all. It comes with 2 different like single serve cups that you can put it in. One's 24 ounces, one's 18 ounces. We'd lost the other 18 ounce one, I'm pretty sure. So now we have 3. But it blends really well. It's really nice if you're in the market. Yeah, so I don't even think I'll necessarily unbox this all the way yet because really all we need is the blades and the new cups. Last but most certainly not least is this little Shea Sugar Scrub. It really is just for the shower. I've always wanted to try a good scrub like this. I'd seen in a recent TikTok of Sarah Fisher, if you know her on YouTube. Or Sarah, if you're watching this, hi, I've been influenced. This wasn't the exact one that she got from Target, but she said that she used a sugar scrub and it was the closest shave she's ever gotten. And I knew that I was looking for a sugar scrub, so I was like, okay, sounds good, same brand. This one smells like tropical mango. I'll try it out. How is that for a little fun school intermission? Now I have a whole huge mess to clean up. And lots of new boxes.
Okay, a little talk about final papers. I'm not typing the full things today just because they're not due for another week, but what I like to do to really set myself up for success is get the bare bones of each paper set up before getting into it by pulling up the syllabus, seeing what needs to be in the paper, creating those headers, getting that APA format ready to go so that next time once I sit down to actually start writing a paper, I can just focus on the writing and I don't need to focus on formatting, pulling up the syllabus, all of that. I can just already be done. I can just open it and be ready to go. So this varies between fields of study, but in social work, they often use APA formatting. And so what I typically do is just take a cover page from a previous paper, copy it and paste it into my new paper. And then I switch around the details as is necessary. So for example, this is going to be for my cognitive behavioral therapy class. I'm just going to call it what she does, final role play, video, and reflection paper. And I'll go down here. I have my name, the school I'm in. I'm going to put class title again. I need to see what the actual class title is because I always forget that. Cognitive behavioral treatment for children and adults. And then I'll go look up my professor's name. I know her like name. I know what we call her, but I mean, as far as I think she has a PhD and also an LCSW, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I want to double check. And then I'll put the due date down here, which is April 26th. 2022. APA also has a header, and these are things you can look up. Purdue OWL is really good at like giving different APA citations, formats, all of that, MLA, whatever you need. Some teachers are more strict than others about the actual formatting. I remember I was really annoyed in my undergrad because I had a teacher that took off points because my page number was in the wrong font, and I felt like that was such a small thing, and granted that is such a small thing, but those tiny little details can just make your paper look more put together. I mean, I don't necessarily think that I should have had a point taken off, but setting it up for success really can like make yourself stand out. See, even right here, my page number is not in Times New Roman. Now it is. Okay, then also with APA, the headers are bolded, and so this is where I go to my syllabus and I see all that needs to be there, and I'll just copy and paste the important things that I need to know that need to go into the paper, and then if it's clear which headings I need, which it looks like it will be, I'll add those in.
Okay, so I have myself all set for success for this CBT final paper. Essentially, like I showed you, I did the header page, I got the formatting all set, ready to go, and then the different sections. I'll probably change the names of the sections as I kind of understand like what I'm actually saying in each of them, but I do have all of the prompts that I need to include now on this Word document, so whenever I actually like sit down, grind time, it's time to write, they're all just right here, and I don't have to
flip back and forth and see all that's happening. So for this final paper, I have section 1 that is CBT skills, and what we're doing is a role play, which I'm doing later today, so you'll get to see that too, or part of that, not the whole thing. That'd be embarrassing for me. We're doing a role play, and then the paper is the reflection based on that role play. So 1 page describing the clinical reasoning for implementing the specific skills that I'm going to use with the client, 1 page that provides a summary of existing evidence like research, literature, all of that, that speaks to the effectiveness of the skill for treating the client's depression. So it's like, what are you doing and how did you choose to do that? And then is what you're doing actually backed by research showing that it works? Section 2, effectiveness analyzed, 1 page analyzing the effectiveness at completing and teaching the CBT technique, what went well and why, what did not work, and how would you address it differently in future sessions. Section 3, most and least effective moments, 1 page describing the most and the least effective moments in the therapy session. And this doesn't necessarily mean skills, this means like as a therapist. So did she maybe say something and I didn't respond in a way that helped build our relationship, helped her feel heard? Or vice versa, did something go really well, like therapeutic alliancely? It's like the interaction between humans, what went well and what didn't, not necessarily specific to CBT, if that makes sense. So were you able to create an empathetic, effective, interpersonally attuned relational space with your client? What did you base this determination on, and what might you do differently in future sessions, if anything? And then the last section is personal values and beliefs. So in what ways may personal values, beliefs, assumptions, biases have affected your intervention process during the session? How might issues of power, privilege, identity, and oppression have affected your intervention process during the session? Obviously, I can't type this now because I haven't done the role play yet, but like I said, it's just already set up, ready to go, and I have found that that is something that is very helpful to me as I've been in grad school and typing lots of papers, because it just makes it super straightforward once I actually sit down and get to writing. I'll do the same thing with my other classes. I know we've talked so much about CBT today. I do have another class. I'll do the same thing with my other classes, final as well, but that one we get to pick between 3 topics, and I haven't chosen yet which topic I want to do. So I'm really gonna need to like look and see which one I feel like I could be most successful writing a paper about. I feel like I've really been coddling myself lately, and I think part of that is just the anticipation of so much change to come. Sorry to jump like into this deep moment, but I've just felt weird lately, and I'm not anxious, I'm not stressed, I'm not sad, but I just, something feels weird, and you can probably tell in the most recent vlogs, like I really am kind of just coddling myself, like being extra nice to myself, because there is a lot of change coming. As I've mentioned, I graduate in about a month, but everything is done at the end of April. So April 29th is my last day. I think this video is going up after that, so I'm probably already done at that point. And I think that there's so many moving parts that need to fall into place for my future life, but then also just the fact that, I think something just hit a little bit deeper, the fact that I'm literally done with school, and I have been in school consistently since I was 5 years old. And so maybe I need to do some reflecting. I've been in school consistently since I was 5 years old, and I'm good at it. Like, there's something about me that thrives in school and in learning and having assignments, and I am very burnt out of it. Like, I am so excited to graduate, but I think I can just tell that there is big transition happening, big change happening. And I have full confidence, full faith that it'll all be okay, like once everything settles down. But it's like right now, knowing that the big ripple, like the big earthquake is coming, it just feels weird. Like I just feel off, and I don't really know how to describe it better than that. Really, the point of that was going to be a short disclaimer just about me being in my apartment, and it kind of turned a little bit deeper than that. But the disclaimer that I was going to give is that I get that these videos can be kind of, maybe not boring, but it's kind of like monotonous maybe, just because I'm sitting in my apartment all day. But that, like, I'm in online grad school, and so that's where I do my work. It's in my apartment, which is why we're here for this day in the life, just kind of stuck in these rooms. That is something that I want to make a future video on, just like the online aspect, like online versus in-person school. If I regret it, what my thoughts on it were, the hard parts, the pros, the cons, all of that. So if that's a video that you'd be interested in, let me know. I have quite a few lined up for as I'm finishing my grad school experience, just like overall reflections, what I wish I knew, what I wish I did differently, those kinds of things. So if there's any questions you have or any topics that you would like me to cover, or you're just like excited to see, I guess, or curious to see, let me know, because I can definitely bump some videos up more front of the queue if there is more interest for them, because like I said, there's a big transition happening. There's a lot happening. And so I want to, I don't know, be able to document my thoughts and everything as they come. One, for myself, just like down the line. I definitely am someone who watches my old videos, which I know not everybody does. I don't watch all of them. Like some of them do feel a little bit cringy, but I do like
reflecting and seeing how I've changed and how I've grown. And by making like these videos in this time, I know that I'll look back at these videos whenever like I am in a set place and I know I'll be living for more than 1 year at a time. Crazy, I know. Or like have a job that I feel comfortable in. Just like whatever life is like in the future, I know I'll look back at this video and be, whew, she had a lot coming. But she made it through, right? That's the whole point. All of that to say, I'm about to sit down and work on like prep for when we do our role plays today, so that I know like what activity I'll be role playing, doing as a therapist, and just feel really prepared for that. What is kind of nice with the role play and the reflection paper is that it really is the reflection part that gets graded. So like I could absolutely stink as a therapist in the role play part, but as long as I talk about that in the paper and talk about what should have gone better and all of that, then I get a good grade regardless, which I do think is nice, because then it's like the pressure is not on to be this perfect therapist in the role play, like to do this great like acting role or anything, because what's graded is, I guess, just like how self-aware I am about it if I do suck. Hopefully I don't, but if I do, I just gotta be self-aware about it. I was like thinking through all these scenarios and I was like, I think that'll be easiest for me to.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I guess I'm gonna come up with thoughts to have so I can be a good client. Where did you find that one? Because, oh wait, I might have found it.
I'm on positive psychology.
Got you. Okay. Oh, but I also see one that's like has the columns for evidence to support thoughts and then evidence that does not support thoughts, alternative thoughts. I think I'm gonna do that one.
That's a good one.
I'm gonna check. It's a PDF, so I'm gonna see what I can do to make it be typable, and then I can pretend we're in a full telehealth situation. It feels so strange to me that this is like the last thing.
Are you going to graduation?
I'm not. I'm
Me
going
neither.
on vacation instead.
Yeah.
I see you standing there wearing flowers in your hair and think, hey, you sure look like you. I like everything about you. I like everything about you. I just finished with my second class of the day, or really I guess my first class of the day, my evidence-based practices one, and I feel like I just did not get a lot of energy today, but it is late and I feel like this vlog is getting kind of long, and so we're not going to talk about it too much now, but I do believe that I will continue vlogging tomorrow, just in a different video. I feel like this was very in-depth of a day, which I feel like I kind of liked, so I hope you enjoyed it as well. I went on a little walk before class, so that was nice. Had class. Now about to head to bed. I hope you do something nice for yourself today. I hope you have so many little reasons to smile in your day, and I'll see you next time.
I do better things with my time than trying to